Hillary Clinton had a deposition yesterday where she was asked a lot of different questions in relation to what she knew and her connection to Epstein. Bill Clinton was interviewed too. We'll try this stream off one more time here and to get into some of the information, because she was asked something within this question. We'll let the video play for itself. And then she was asked it and she was pretty upset by it. They went off the record. Of course, so many times this is what these people do. They just go off the record. They go in secret meetings, and it's just completely unjust that they do that. So we'll watch that, and then we'll watch a video of exactly what is going on in relation to this strange word where Hillary Clinton's name came up on Anthony Weiner's laptop. So first off, we'll start with Hillary Clinton's absolute meltdown that she had during her deposition.
I have another photos that are being released of the secretary as she is testifying from inside this room. Can you please advise me as to whether or not that's permissible and consistent with the rules, particularly given that we have asked for a public hearing? If there are photos that are being released of the secretary as she is testifying, can you please explain how that
I'm done with this. If you guys are doing that, I am done. You can hold me in contempt from now until the cows come home. This is just typical behavior.
We will go off the record.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
So I would like to understand how that's permissible.
Before the hearing was.
It doesn't matter. We all are abiding by the same rules.
I will take that down.
Yeah,
So
well.
I would like to take a break at this moment.
Yeah,
and I'd like to have
I'm
a
done
conversation.
for now.
Go off the record. Go off the record.
Go off the record, go off the record. You'll see they do that again here when asked about this other very sensitive topic. Yeah, we'll get into it because, it's worth information. I don't know exactly what's real or what's not, but we'll look at this and the connection Hillary Clinton has to talking about sacrificing something to Moloch, the different conspiracies surrounding this word up here that we're about to get into, as we see under, we'll just let this video play for itself. Thanks, Felicia. I'm doing better. God bless you guys. So yeah, we'll see. Hopefully we can make it through this video here without any issues. So let's take a listen here. And then how they go off the record once again when asked the real questions.
Are you aware of any files that were on Anthony Weiner's laptop in a folder that was titled insurance, life insurance, with a zip file titled frazzled?
This is way outside the scope.
ruling.
This is way
within the
outside the
scope?
scope.
Is
this within the scope, Mr. Chairman?
If the chairman rules that it's not within the scope, I
Mr.
have
Chairman,
other
based on
questions.
what you said in the public hearing, is this within the scope?
We can go off the record for a moment. to
Mr.
confirm
Chairman,
the
is this
chairman.
within the
We'll
scope?
go off the
We'll go off the record and consult.
So of course they go off the record when asked about why Hillary Clinton was allegedly in a video on Anthony Weiner's laptop titled Life Insurance. The video was titled this word here, whatever. I'll just say what I want. Well, hopefully these things don't get taken down again. Frazzle drip was the name of it exactly. We'll watch a video of what exactly is in connection to that. What exactly that could mean. Because it's pretty interesting. As you can see in the video here on the top, it says 9 out of the 12 people who saw Anthony Weiner's laptop, which had that video allegedly on it, are dead. They are found dead. And they talk a little bit about that in this video here. I'm not sure who the original poster is. We see a name here. Hopefully that's the person who made this video originally. It is a compilation of a few different things. So here's some of that information in relation to what was such a hard question where you couldn't just say yes or no. I don't know what that means. Her lawyers have to immediately jump down their throat, and then they have to go off the record when asked about this question. We'll take a listen.
I'm calling Twitch so we can talk about Game of Games tonight.
Have any of you actually discovered who this guy is yet?
And I'm not talking about Jay-Z. I'm talking about this guy right here.
A lot of celebrities have his art. And some celebrities idolize him so much they spend millions of dollars on his artwork and his hairstyles too. This is Jean-Michel Basquiat, the boyfriend of Madonna before the world even knew her name. And it kind of made me wonder why certain celebrities idolize him so much. For example, like his three-pointed crown, which was Chris Rock's first tattoo at the age of 55. In which
So this artist drew what is this picture here, which people are saying is the alleged connection to that word, that Hillary Clinton and her lawyers don't want her answering to. She acts like it's a big joke. Same thing that she did before. Oh, the pizza thing. Oh, the code words. Oh, this WikiLeaks stuff. It's such a joke. It's just a big conspiracy. Now it turns out what we see with the new Epstein releases, 100% verified, just like it was before. in Hillary Clinton's WikiLeaks from 2016. They're talking in code words. They're saying these things. So the video says that Hillary Clinton was wearing someone's face. That's what the video says on Anthony Weiner's life insurance folder. We'll see there are some files that we'll even see here, some emails that were released from the WikiLeaks thing from 2016, where we see some of these, you know, these very strange things that she was even saying. Things that were said that just are like, okay, what exactly is going on here? There's something more for sure. It's not just a big joke like Hillary wants you to think. And again, what's the number up to? Like 50 or 100 now at this point, people who are close to her and her husband who could have easily exposed them are now dead. Does anybody know somebody who has, you know, 100 dead people close to them? This is very, you know, worth investigating still.
LeBron James jumped in on that too. Same for P. Diddy and Dave Bautista. And it made me wonder why Hollywood finds Basquiat's artwork more unique than anyone else's. For one, articles state that he was a medium, a magician. His mission was nothing less than the restoration of powerful spiritual function to art, a channeling of the eternal through the ephemeral. Articles state that Basquiat was a scion of Haiti. He knows the lowest, the Haitian gods, and he knows what they sound like on the jazz record. He can hear Urzili when she's speaking through the clarinet, and he understands the relationship between possession on the dance floor that the gods are in the music. And I find it extremely coincidental that P. Diddy has a massive back tattoo of Urzili or Azili Dantor on his back. They're pretty spot on, I'd say.
And you know, this starts to get into the old news, but now that we're having these new files that have been released with Epstein stuff, and the new, like just a new wave of finding out that some of these people in the highest ranking positions of government and companies and organizations around the world are involved in satanic rituals and harming children and trafficking children. I mean, that's what these people are involved with. Same with, you know, John Podesta, highly connected to this stuff. For some reason, he got, like, you know, completely exposed again during the first leaks in 2016. And this stuff went everywhere back then before they were even manipulating the algorithm back then. And this stuff was just absolutely everywhere. And then he just dropped off the radar 100% because it got way too close to him. When you see the art that just him and his brother alone, he should be imprisoned just off the basis of the artwork that he has alone, in my opinion. So where did he go? What has he been up to? Because he for sure is involved in this stuff to the same exact level that Epstein was. A lot of these people are.
And how ironic is it that Madonna depicts Alizé as well, right down to the heart. Many celebrities own his art, especially Ellen. And believe me, she has many.
So this just goes on. I'll let it play. I'll just say what it's saying, you know, talking about the Haitian voodoo rituals in connection to this stuff, sacrificing an evil, which is what this artist is doing. That was on Ellen's sweatshirt there. That was on Jay-Z's sweatshirt. That's a picture up in the top left. Some people say and have, you know, come to the theory that that is like the face in this video that Hillary Clinton was supposedly on Anthony Weiner's laptop.
Classical archaeology is whether or not the Carthaginians.
Here they talk a little bit about the cult of Moloch, which we'll read in a minute. Hillary Clinton is sending emails saying, oh, well, I'll just sacrifice a chicken to Moloch in my backyard. Who says that type of thing? Who says that? What is she involved with? There's even the emails that came out in all this about them talking about where's the body of the dead Nephilim that they're trying to find. So what are they trying for this purpose? I mean, we're just getting a little more information now, and the conspiracies and the crazy theories that everyone said is just absolutely insane. Starting to look like these things are actually way more based in the truth than a lot of people want to realize, or, you know, it's hard to admit, but it's the truth. So this is just going on, talking about also the connection to all these different old organizations, or not organizations, cultures, religions that were sacrificing human sacrifices.
One of the most bitterly
evil for a
debated
long
subjects
time.
in classical archaeology is whether or not the Carthaginians, an ancient civilization in North Africa, killed their children for their gods. Evidence for the worship of Moloch is found in the Old Testament, with variant names Molech, Melech, and Baal, meaning Lord, and also the Phoenician theonym for Moloch is MLK. If the classical reports are accurate, Moloch represents a deity or symbology associated with child sacrifice and is fervently despised in the Old Testament. No archaeological or historical evidence states Moloch or any of his variant names resemble an owl. Rabbinical tradition depicted Moloch as a bronze statue with the head of a bull and a large human body where victims were thrown into fire. the Canaanite deity has also been drawn and referred to as Kronos, due to the parallel theme of the Titan god devouring his children. The ritualistic intimations of Baal and Moloch have existed for thousands of years, with modern reimaginings depicting the idol as a machine. Other controversial interpretations can be found in the origins of Freemasonry.
Yeah, sorry guys, I get like one little thing I start talking about and then I get like, you know, pulled from the point of what I was trying to make here. Just like I see, like Dave mentions in the chat, how Abramovic, she's like buddies with all these different people connected to Hillary Clinton. Same with John Podesta, who was Hillary Clinton's campaign manager at the time. And again, him and his brother, their artwork alone should have them in prison because it's depicting children bound up, children tortured, children in extremely evil positions and harmful, evil acts being done to kids. How these people are sick, and these people are trying to make decisions on, again, what happens in our nation and on how we vote and where our tax dollars go. Meanwhile, they're buying art like that and, you know, hanging out with Epstein and doing, you know, God knows what behind closed door with these kids. And then they get in these depositions and they start laughing and saying, we have to go into off the record and we have to go into skiffs and the blah, 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 where no real justice is ever being served because they have the money that they've stolen to cover up their crimes. But yeah, it's Abramovic, it's Podesta, it's Hillary Clinton. They have to be investigated to the absolute fullest, and they have to be answering questions and to be completely looked into and not just dodging around with expensive lawyers like they do.
As revealed in the Royal Arch Degree in the Rituals of Exaltation, the name of the great architect of the universe is a trinity of words. Ja-Bulan, translating to Yahweh, Baal, and Osiris, the ancient Egyptian god of fertility, resurrection, and the underworld. In Tunisia, just outside Jerusalem, children were said to have been sacrificed to Baal by being, quote, passed through fire in an area called a Tophet. According to Rashi, the single most influential commentator of the Middle Ages, the massive statue of, quote, Molech, which was of copper, and they would heat it up from underneath with his hands spread out, and they would place the child on his hands, and he would be burnt and mown, and the priests would beat drums so the father should not hear his son's voice and take pity, end quote. It's pertinent to understand the Hebrew Bible referred to Moloch worship as Canaanite idolatry, straying away from Judaism. The quotes from Leviticus are clear. But the religion of Carthage in North Africa managed to continue the Canaanite ritual.
And when you start to see, again, what is happening right now and just continued on, it's really just Satan continued at work, just like he was in the past, and just into new ways. You know, Moloch and the worship of these false gods that God warned people to not do in the Old Testament. They've just continued it on today into a new fashion. And then people like Crowley and other sick, disgusting people had morphed it around and taken it from just like tossing, you know, a child into a golden Moloch or whatever, a bronze Moloch, into even more evil and sinister abuses of children and torture of children and human beings. And it's just been an evolution of these evil practices to these ancient gods that's continued on today, which is why these people are involved again in the same stuff, in the same exact things. Epstein has a bank account named Baal. Hillary Clinton talking about Moloch. These people are sending emails back and forth talking about these ancient gods and making jokes about this stuff and sacrificing things. It's because it's continued on and it's just evolved into new things, but it's the same Satan, it's the same false gods, and they've just moved into different positions, and these people are just doing the same exact thing that they were doing in the past. The evil gods of the past, they're still at work in the world today. It's really just Satan overall is what it is. And these people have given their allegiance over to him, many of them.
With several modifications, they birthed what the Jewish virtual library called the Cult of Moloch, creating the largest Tophet ever discovered, covering almost 4 miles with 9 descending levels. Rabbinical tradition stated, quote, the body of Moloch was hollow, divided into 7 compartments, in one which they put flour, in the 2nd through 6th they put animals, and in the 7th a child, which were all burned together by heating the statue inside. But in 1923, French-led excavations at Carthage found some 20,000 burials containing cremated infant and animal bones kept in urns, inscribed with dedications to Baal and the Phoenician theonym for Moloch. They discovered long genealogical pedigrees signifying noble families, with one lineage stretching back 16 generations, suggesting the ritual was, quote, an elite practice. the University of Oxford published a study of the findings concluding the Greek and Roman accounts were true, and not, as modern scholars believe, propaganda. They also reaffirmed previous analyses that because the ritual was so expensive, only the wealthiest and most powerful in Carthage could have practiced it. The cult of Moloch was real, an unspeakable evil carried out by wealthy humans while their society was flourishing. An author of the study said, quote, "We should not imagine that ancient people thought like us and were horrified by the same things. But remember, the Greeks and the Romans were just as appalled then as we are now. Even many animals have an unquenchable desire for the safety of their offspring. And with the cult of Moloch substantiated, it would seem that anyone knowledgeable of its horror would react with abhorrence and disgust. And with most of the world having no idea about this, why then, or how then, does Hillary Clinton know about Moloch?"
So all of that talk about, the cult of Moloch, the history of the sacrifices that had taken place that the guy just mentioned, leads up to this. Then why is Clinton sending an email about this? Again, this is from the 2016 Wikileaks files release. It says, with fingers crossed, the old rabbit foot out of the box in the attic, I will be sacrificing a chicken in the backyard to Moloch. So that's what Hillary Clinton, the U.S. Department of State, the Secretary of State, or whatever she was, is sending emails joking about sacrificing chickens to Moloch in the backyard. When you start to understand, and when we start to understand what her husband's involved with, again, how many people connected to her and her family have, disappeared and have gone unalived, then you start to wonder, well, is this actually a joke that she's saying? Obviously, I don't think so. This, and then who jokes like that, really? And I mean, even myself in the past, when I used to not be a Christian and the people I used to hang out with, and we had, crude senses of humor, we're not saying stuff like that. Nothing even close. So this just makes no sense. And for a Secretary of State of the United States government to be saying stuff like that, this is weird. This is odd. So we'll get into more stuff here about Hillary Clinton and some of the connection, this whole frazzle drip thing.
The footage found on Anthony.
I'll put this. So here, this post was by this person on X. Not sure if they're the one who made this video compilation or not, potentially. But this is where you can find it. Sadly, many people don't put the exact uploader if this is not them. Sorry, I'm not sure who it is. Always feel free to drop it in the comments if anyone knows.
Anthony Weiner's laptop.
Yeah, that's a good point too. Just like Brenda mentioned, they have code words for these other things. So what exactly is the chicken that she mentions there? Yeah, my desire is for these people to for there to be justice in this world. But just like it says in the Psalms, when David was so upset seeing the wicked people in the world who were prospering and all these things happening, and he's just like, why is this happening? He says, then I went in the sanctuary, and then I understood their end. Their time is literally a vapor here on the earth. And then when they go from this life to the next, the wicked doers and the evil doers, they're going to face just in a moment, just 1 second of the wrath of God poured on them. They're going to regret every single thing they've ever done, but they will have that for eternity. And that is the judgment of the wrath of God for the harm that they've done, especially to the kids.
Caused some of the most hardened NYPD officers to weep, vomit, and seek psychological help.
They didn't look at a fraction of the emails on Anthony Weiner's laptop.
Because of Weinergate and the sexting scandal, the NYPD started investigating it.
In yet another sexting scandal, Anthony Weiner is accused of more than just infidelity. He's accused of breaking the law, sexting with a 15-year-old. Sources tell News 4 the feds issued a subpoena for his cell phone records.
Through a subpoena, through a warrant, they searched his laptop and sure enough found those 650,000 emails. They found way more stuff than just the more information pertaining to the inappropriate sexting the guy was doing.
675,000 Clinton emails when they got Anthony Weiner's laptop in a search warrant because of all his sex perversion issues. It was all the Clinton emails, the Clinton Foundation, her Secretary of State emails, Huma Abedin's emails. Lots of people emailed Huma as a proxy for Hillary.
They found State Department emails. They found a lot of other really damning criminal information, including money laundering, including the fact that Hillary went to this sex island with convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein. Bill Clinton went there more than 20 times. Hillary Clinton went there at least 6 times. the amount of garbage that they found in these emails of criminal activity by Hillary, by her immediate circle, and even by other Democratic members of Congress was so disgusting. They gave it to the FBI, and they said, we're going to go public with this if you don't reopen the investigation, if you don't do the right thing with timely indictments.
Think about how frustrating that is, and that really gives you, you know, a mindset of understanding where they are really and where justice is in the United States government, because a lot of what is being said here and talked about is from a long time ago, like 10 years ago. And so they knew all this stuff. The FBI, these guys, I mean, honestly, again, I've said it before, I think that's why Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, these guys look like they've got these stairs, these 1,000-mile long stairs, because they've seen the worst of the worst, and they've also been threatened by these people to say that they can't come out and expose this stuff. And so that's why they have that look in their eye. That's my opinion. But even if that's not the case, this stuff has been known for 10 years, and then even theorized, and little leaks of information has come out for years and years before that. So they've had this information. They've known about it. The FBI has known. They've had the emails. They've looked at Anthony Weiner's laptop. They've known all this stuff. They have even the Epstein files now and know the worst of the worst. Tim Bruchette, I think that's his name, that congressman talking about underwater alien bases underneath the ocean. He's come out and said that the stuff in the Epstein emails that he's seen is so insanely, is so incredibly and evil and satanic that, you know, it's just terrible, and that he doesn't know if anybody will ever, if that stuff will ever come out. Who else also said, well, if we released all the Epstein files, then there'd be no one left to run the government. Someone said something along those lines. So it's like they know, they have the information, and it's not coming out. And it's like little bits here and there, but then will there really be justice? I do think we should still contend for, pray for, and demand justice against these people who are committing these crimes. But it's just like they've literally been sitting on this information for decades, for a decade, at least in this case. And yeah, in some cases, I'm sure decades with some of these people. It's like, man, it's crazy.
The FBI is combing through thousands of emails found on former Congressman Anthony Weiner's laptop. Investigators are looking for classified information or anything that might be tied to Hillary Clinton. The emails in question are believed to be from Weiner's estranged wife, Huma Abedin's account. She's one of Clinton's longtime aides.
We're not talking about one or two emails. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of emails.
NYPD was the first one to look at that laptop.
I heard that the New York police officers who saw some of it, even though they're hardened investigators, literally had to go throw up. It's bad.
Weiner and Huma Abedin, his wife, the closest advisor of Hillary Clinton for 20 years, have both flipped.
October 26th. So this is the company that Hillary Clinton keeps. Anthony Weiner, his wife, John Podesta, Jeffrey Epstein, married to Bill Clinton. I mean, geez Louise, that's the people she's hanging out with. These are the people close to her, all involved in sexual perversion, sexual crimes, and then even occult, satanic acts and rituals. I mean, it's crazy, man. It's crazy, these people. It's just crazy how we went from where our nation was founded and the types of people who founded our nation to where we are now. Like in the last 80 years, something has just happened to where politicians face no repercussions, even when they're doing the most evil thing with mountains of evidence. They sit there like Hillary Clinton does here and complains and yells, and her fancy lawyers get them to go off the record, and she stands up and walks out. It makes sense when you start to understand that the wrath of God will be poured out one day, because it's like these people just get away with literally the most evil stuff here. Tons of people, and then just nothing. Also, while we're talking about Epstein here for a moment, I'll see the emails that were just released also said that Epstein had his prostate taken out. In the emails, he's asked, did you have your prostate taken out? Yes. He says, yes, I did. And they go on to talk about why. Then the body that was taken and the report of the of whatever that's called, I forget what that's called, when they do the report of the body when somebody has been dead, found that body of supposedly Jeffrey Epstein at that prison where he supposedly did that thing, unalived himself, that body had a prostate. So that wasn't even Jeffrey Epstein. It wasn't his body. Completely proven now at this point. I just saw that today. So that's what they're passing off. So he could even still probably be alive. I mean, that drone footage from his island looked like that was still even him. Autopsy. That's right. Thank you. The autopsy of that body had a prostate. Jeffrey Epstein doesn't have a prostate, according to the new email leak or release, whatever. Where is he? He's probably still off on his island somewhere, just underneath it. We know it goes underground.
7th, the investigative team that had finished the investigation in July, focused on Secretary Clinton's emails, asked to meet with me. So I met with them that morning, late morning, in my conference room, and they laid out for me what they could see from the metadata on this fella Anthony Weiner's laptop that had been seized in an unrelated case. What they could see from the metadata was that there were thousands of Secretary Clinton's emails on that device, including what they thought might be the missing emails from her first 3 months as Secretary of State. I authorized them to seek a search warrant, and then I faced a choice. One was labeled speak, the other was labeled conceal. Speak would be really bad. There's an election in 11 days. Lordy, that would be really bad. Concealing, in my view, would be catastrophic, not just to the FBI, but well beyond. And honestly, as between really bad and catastrophic, I said to my team, we've got to walk into the world of really bad. I've got to tell Congress.
There were a total of 12 individuals who saw Anthony Weiner's laptop computer. 9 of those 12 people are dead now.
Some sad news tonight. Another New York City police officer has taken his life. The second NYPD suicide in 2 days.
Robert Echeverria died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound at home last night. The 25-year veteran officer's suicide came a little more than 24 hours after a 35-year-old officer took his own life. Commissioner James O'Neill is still struggling with the news.
You know, you think, okay, this is going to be the last one, and last night I got a phone call, and it just almost knocked me down. I just took the wind right out of me. I just, what the hell's going on here?
So far this year, there have been 9 NYPD suicides.
At this point, I don't know what the update is on these guys, on how many more of these people who worked on the laptop had done that, but a lot of them have. And so it's like, is it even that, right? There's been a lot of people who have been exposing government stuff for a long time, and they find them unalived, and they said they did it to themselves with 2 shots in the head. Like that guy who exposed Iran-Contra. Was it Gary Wayne? Forget his name sometimes. It's like, it's crazy that this stuff has gone on. And then this lady just gets away with it. There's so many people who are just getting away with this stuff. It's crazy. She's one of them. We'll see. We'll see.
7 since June. Last year, there were a total of 4.
We don't know why Nick did what he did.
Doug Budney's son, Nick, a 14-year NYPD officer, took his own life last year.
I just think it was a bad last decision.
Another NYPD officer has just died by suicide. It's the 10th suicide so far this year. News 4's Gus Rosendale is live at the site of the shooting in Queens. Gus, what can you tell us?
Yes, right now, that officer was pronounced dead at Queens General Hospital just a few minutes ago, and now a number of other officers are here trying to figure out exactly what happened. This is the scene at 178th and Union Turnpike in Utopia, Queens. Little known about who this officer was and the circumstances surrounding this. Again, we just know this was an off-duty officer with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. He was rushed to the hospital where he passed away just a short while ago. Now, leading up to this, as you mentioned, there have been 9 previous suicides by active members of the NYPD happening this year in 2019.
Now that is a strange coincidence. Anthony Weiner is alive. Weiner shared the laptop with his estranged wife, Huma Abedin, a close aide to Hillary Clinton since 2000.
NYPD chief commits suicide 1 month before retiring, was directly involved in Anthony Weiner laptop computer evidence handling. A high-ranking New York City Police Department officer has died from an alleged self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. Deputy Chief Stephen Silks was found in an unmarked patrol car wearing civilian clothes Wednesday evening, just 1 month before he would turn 63 and face mandatory retirement. He allegedly shot himself in the head with the gun reportedly discovered beside him. He was very closely and heavily involved in the investigation of the laptop seized from the former Congressman Anthony Weiner, which allegedly held volumes of Hillary Clinton email evidence on it. A fellow officer told the New York Daily News that Silks was deeply committed to the job. Silks reportedly submitted his mandatory retirement paperwork the day before.
That's pretty interesting, right? Sorry, the audio goes bad on this section of the video here, but that Silks was deeply committed to his job. Reportedly submitted his mandatory retirement papers the day before. So he's doing things. He's not doing anything where it looks like he's planning for that type of thing to happen. And, you know, for me, it just really, I start to think about the other things that have been involved that we know for sure that the government has been involved with, or at least covered up, or had some sort of involvement with. A lot of what happened in 2020, they knew how the disease was not that dangerous. They knew what they were putting in people's arms was completely too risky and way too fast forwarded. And a lot of people were having serious health ramifications because of it. They pushed that forward. How about World Trade Center Building 7 falling free fall right in its own footprint without any planes, blocks away from the building because of fires? The only three skyscrapers to ever fall because of fires, all on the same day. You see these videos out of China of like the entire skyscraper blazing on fire and the thing doesn't collapse, but a few fires in the middle floor at WTC 7 causes it to fall. So, when they know that this stuff is happening and they're covered this stuff up, they knew the Iraq war, they knew there weren't weapons of mass destruction, tons of people killed, billions of dollars spent, American lives killed, died because of that. So they allow that stuff. So again, I don't know what happened in this case, but it's like, it makes me wonder if they're willing to do that stuff, then what's just one person who saw something that they didn't want them to see? That's like nothing to them. To some people, not saying who, but to some people that would be like nothing.
Other sources, however, say that the deputy chief was heavily involved in the sex crimes investigations of former Democrat Congressman Anthony Weiner, and that the chief personally oversaw the evidence gathering from a laptop computer seized from Weiner in that investigation. The laptop is alleged to have contained numerous emails from Hillary Clinton during her time as Secretary of State and numerous files in a folder titled Insurance Policy, which reportedly contained extraordinary details about child sex rings operated by and for use of high-ranking government officials nationwide. Ultimately, that laptop had to be turned over by NYPD to the FBI, who allegedly lost it. Rumors have circled for years that NYPD top brass took copies of the hard drive because they were suspicious of the feds in general and wanted to make certain that the evidence was preserved. One high-ranking NYPD official at the time the laptop was seized told media outlets he was sickened by what he saw on that computer, and if the feds did not pursue the necessary investigations, he would reveal what the laptop contained. It is now believed that Deputy Chief Silks was that official. No one is confirming or denying that information at this time. So, Deputy Chief Silks was one of the now 10 officers, and he allegedly was the one who oversaw the information on the Anthony Weiner laptop and made copies. Who else made copies? And who else has the information? Was it suicide? Probably not.
So one of the things, if I were the president, I'd do is demand the Anthony Weiner laptop and get it to the most trusted person in the military to take apart everything on it and then start using it. There's a lot that can be prosecuted. I have no doubt on that laptop.
For sure. 100%. There's just what's actually on that laptop exposed something serious, which is why it doesn't make any sense why these police officers who were seeing the information on that laptop, just all of them, like 9 out of 12 of them died by that same way. That's just not adding up. That is not adding up at all. I'm trying to look up where is Anthony Weiner's laptop, because I don't know if that whole they lost it thing is legit. It says seized by the FBI in October 2016, initial seizure 2016. 2017, they identified approximately 2,800 work-related documents on the laptop. 18 emails found on the device were later identified with classified information. 650,000 emails. So yeah, it looks like they have it. I'm not sure what that whole loss thing is, but you don't hear anything much more from that. We don't have any information from that. Was anyone arrested from that? What did Anthony Weiner, what was he even charged with? Probably something that he just did like community service or something. Sure, he faced no prison time. These people almost never do. And then when they do, they get replaced with a different body that has a prostate like Epstein does. So weird, very weird. But I saw this video of Hillary Clinton absolutely losing it on her deposition, having to go off the record, storming out, saying she's done with this. And then they asked her about that whole frazzle drip thing, and she puts her hands in her head. We'll watch that one more time as we end this off. But I saw that, and so I wanted to do a video showing some of the information in relation to what that is. Again, we don't know exactly what it is or what it isn't, but I thought it was worth putting in a video since, you know, nothing's probably going to come about this. At least people can be aware that this is something that she's involved with, or at least accused of.
Are you aware of any files that were on Anthony Weiner's laptop in a folder that was titled insurance, life insurance, with a zip file titled frazzle?
This is way outside the chairman's ruling. This is way within the scope.
Is
this within the scope, Mr. Chairman?
If the chairman rules that it's not within the scope,
Mr. Chairman, based on what you said in the public hearing, is this within the scope?
We can go off the record for a moment.
Mr. Chairman, is this within the scope?
We'll go off the record and consult.
So we can go off the record and consult. That happens a lot in our government. It happens a lot. UFO hearings, we're going to get the truth. They're all sitting in a big room and they ask the serious questions. Did you see, is there non-human biological craft? Yeah, we saw them. Did you see them, or were they alive, or this or that or whatever? We're going to have to go into a skiff off the record for that. I can't say that publicly. We're going to have to go into a skiff. David Grush, massive psyop, completely controlled. Again, Hillary Clinton asked about this, gives no information. Her lawyers just absolutely jump down their throat and then, okay, yeah, let's go off the record. So there you go. I mean, that alone, you know, you'd think you'd at least want to stand up for yourself when accused about something like that, or have some sort of proof. Like, that's absolutely insane. There's no evidence of that. That's just a theory or something. But that's the rumor. And then they absolutely freak out when asked about it. So that alone makes me think there's something more to it than just absolutely nothing, for sure. Thanks, guys, for hopping on the live stream. Glad it got up. Feel free to let me know any more information in the comments. Most importantly, we can pray for God's guidance, for God to lead us, and for justice to happen here on this earth. But we know in the new world to come, in the new heavens and the new earth, there will be absolute justice. So one day, this world will be rid of the absolute evil going on. God bless, guys.